It's summer calling. I know it's been a hot minute since we last hung out, but I missed you. I know we're gonna have a lot of fun, so talk soon, yeah? If you haven't noticed, summer's calling, so here's a little guide for all the things you should do before the season ends. There are some things that always feel like summer to me, and the first is picnics. As soon as the weather is warmer, my picnic blanket is out and I am in the nearest park. I want to take advantage of the good weather when it's just starting to get warm and it's not too hot yet. Although, as I'm saying this, New York is literally in a heat wave and I am sweltering, but let's pretend the weather is actually nice. And I want to spend a lot of time outside because it's so beautiful out. The serotonin is really serotonining. And that means walking, sitting, or biking. This is probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done. I'm kidding. Maybe not. Anyway, biking. I just learned how to bike one-handed, and so it still freaks me out. I've never, oh god, there's a car behind me, and I think I'm gonna die. I'm gonna stop. That was an experience. Okay, sometimes it's too hot, and honestly, I just want to be inside, and when I'm inside, all I really want to do is read. So, let's get some reading done. These are some books that I think are really essential to feel like it's summer. First and foremost is a book that I literally just finished yesterday while I was at the beach, and it is The Summer Book by H.A.G.S. If you don't know who H.A.G.S is, she's the author and creator of Moomin, which is one of my favorite cartoon-ish characters. I don't really know how to describe it, but there are also books and a show and I think some movies. The summer book is really short. It's only around 150 pages. I think it's a book that anyone in almost any age can read. What I mean by that is that the writing style feels like it's catered for a younger audience. I think this is like middle grade, it feels. So it's very simple and like easy to read, but it also brings a lot of introspection and it's so good. It follows vignettes of memories of this girl and her grandmother as they spend the summer together on an island off the coast of Finland. Next up is a book that I read last summer, and it is Happy Hour by Marlo Granados. This is a book that follows two girls in New York City as they explore their 20s and really are just here for the vibes. Summer usually makes me think of two things in terms of relationships, and that is friendships and romance. For friendships, I have to recommend one of my faves, which is The Queens of New York by E.L. Shen. This is a YA novel that follows three best friends, inseparable. This is the first summer where they're not spending the summer together, and it's really inspiring to see how like long distance friendships can still work, even though it is temporary. They all come back at the end of the summer, and like how each of them evolve and they grow without each other and also with each other from afar. Okay, the next few books are books that I honestly have not read. Following the line of friendship, this is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I have heard so many good things about this book, and I just know it's gonna be a journey. This is set in the 1950s of Naples, Italy, and it is about two girls and their friendship. It's quoted in the synopsis as a beautiful portrait of two women. I am really excited to read this, and hopefully I'll get around to reading this summer. It is on my TBR, but I'm such a mood reader that I don't know if I'll actually get around to reading this, but now is the time. In terms of romance, an author that just feels like she encapsulates summer is Emily Henry. I actually have not read Book Lovers yet, but I feel like it would be so good to read Book Lovers during the summer, as well as some of her other books like Beach Read, People Meet on Vacation. I read Happy Place, and I feel like that is also a good book to read in the summer. Emily Henry's books are just like so fun and definitely something that I can imagine myself reading like at the beach or poolside, or just like if I want to feel that summery vibe. Now we're moving on to two authors that I feel like really encapsulate the essence of summer through their work. First up we have Joan Didion. You can read any of Joan Didion's works during the summer and it'll feel like such a good summer book. I'm so sorry, but I actually haven't read a Joan Didion book. But I will say I've started it. I started Play It As You Lay. I've started My Year of Magical Thinking, and I have not started Slouching Towards Bethlehem, but I do want to read and finish at least one Joan Didion book before the summer ends. And I think it'll be good. The reason why Joan Didion feels like she encapsulates summer is because she's from California. A lot of her books are set in California and in the desert, specifically like Death Valley. So that feels very like warm and summery to me. Last author slash list of books on my list is an author where I don't actually have her book with me because it is in my family home in California, and that is Eve Babbitt's. I feel like Eve Babbitt's is also like one of those like Californian authors where she just feels so warm, everything she writes. I finished Black Swans last summer, which is like a collection of short stories, and then she also wrote Sex and Rage, which I haven't read yet. Eve Babbitt is such a good like summer author, very Hollywood summer-esque, and it feels right for the summer. I hope you enjoyed this little segment of summer reading recs, and let's move on to the next thing. I realized that every summer I try something new. Like I learn something new, whether that is like a new skill or I try to learn like a new language. But trying something new feels very summery to me. And there are so many things that you can learn, like how to knit or crochet. And with skills like that, there's like always something new to learn with it. This summer, I'm gonna try to learn how to make a granny square, which is like a crochet pattern, and then I want to eventually like learn how to make like a beanie out of that, and hopefully I'll figure it out before winter, so by the time it's winter I'll have something to wear. Or it could be like playing pickleball, which is what I am learning how to do this summer. All of these are hobbies, and I think it comes down to this core thing of investing in your hobbies. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a new hobby, but for me, a lot of the times it was a new hobby or just like this shiny new thing that I was really into. But it could also be something that you have always loved and you may have forgotten about during the winter. I was reading an article recently about how when you're an adult, you don't really invest in your hobbies as much, or I feel like there are definitely less opportunities to have hobbies. There are systems in place for children that really let them have opportunities of play. So like playgrounds and like after school clubs and like all these other things. But like when you become an adult, there's really not these like systems or structures that let you put time and energy into your hobbies. It has to be like a conscious effort to have play or engage in your hobbies. I also think that our current internet generation has a tendency to make our hobbies into this like capitalistic thing, aka I have a tendency to make all of my hobbies my job. Feels weird. I think hobbies should still have a place for yourself where it is like literally just for yourself and not for any other gain. Or if not, I think it is important to have something that is like really just truly for yourself. Anyway, this summer I am determined to learn how to sew. I want to make a piece of clothing for myself, or like I want to like thrift flip something. I've already thrifted this shirt, but I'm kind of intimidated to cut it up and like sew it because I'm scared, and like, you know, failure sucks and I don't know, I feel like I don't want to fail, but I'm gonna confront that fear this summer, do something fun for myself, make a piece of clothing. Please keep me accountable. Slay. This is a scarf that I have been working on since last November. This is supposed to be a scarf for my boyfriend, but currently it is just a square. I'm sorry to my boyfriend who I told not to get any scarves because I'm knitting a scarf for him, and then I proceed to not finish the scarf for literally almost 2 years. But hopefully by this winter I'll have a scarf because I'm engaging in my hobbies. Anyway, starting something new and investing in your hobbies kind of aligns with my next tip, which is to try a challenge. Oh my gosh, summer is peak motivation time, so this is the perfect time to do something out of your comfort zone because you have the energy and the time and the motivation to get through it. Want to go on a digital detox? Yes, now is the time. Delete your social media, get off of YouTube, except finish this video first, and then, you know, get off of social media. Start a YouTube channel? Yes, now is the time. Like, what are you waiting for? I'm too late. No, you're not. I've learned so much from talking to myself and like listening to my voice while I'm editing. The challenge is waiting for you, or the challengers. The challengers are waiting for you.
That was such a cheesy transition, but yes, films. When you wind down from a long day from basking in the sun, aka me today, I know, outfit change because it was just so hot today, a summer movie is waiting for you. As your resident film student, here are some movies that you have to watch this summer. I'll just get these out of the way because it is very obvious and popular. Challengers, for obvious reasons, I feel like it is the summer movie this year, as well as Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 is a great movie to remind yourself to be compassionate to your emotions and honestly, like, love yourself and forgive yourself if you make mistakes, which we all inevitably will. I've categorized my film recs into a few buckets, and let's start from level easy to hard. I'm all for nostalgic childhood summers, so here are some movies to heal your inner child. Firstly, we have Disney Channel original movies, and by this I mean Camp Rock, High School Musical, all of them, 1, 2, and 3. The Cheetah Girls, Princess Protection Program, literally all of the Disney Channel original movies. Those are some of my favorites, and they always put me in a good mood, and it's just something that I can always like watch over and over and over again. The Parent Trap. I watched this so much as a kid. There was literally one summer when I watched this movie every single day for my entire summer break because I was absolutely unhinged and obsessed. Still love it, and such an easy movie for me to watch and wind down to. Last up, we have Kiki's Delivery Service, and honestly, any of Miyazaki's movies. This isn't particularly nostalgic for my childhood, mostly because I watched most of Miyazaki's movies when I was already older in life, but they always reawaken this childhood wonder that I used to have, so I feel like it's really fitting for this category. Also, because you don't know, the cicadas this summer are really cicada-ing. Miyazaki's movies, and also like I would say like most Japanese films in general, like a warm soundtrack of cicadas in the background, so very fitting. Next are songs of the summer. These are mostly musicals but not necessarily musicals. First up, we have one of my new favorite movies, which is The Young Girls of Rochefort. If you have not watched The Young Girls of Rochefort, please go watch it this summer. Like, I literally watched it a few weeks ago and my life has changed. Definitely fitting for the summer because it's super colorful. It is at its core about misconnections, but also as a fun little thing, it is about two twin sisters who are also Geminis. And I know Gemini season kind of just passed, but come on guys, like, we have to watch this. When it's super hot, all I can think about is In the Heights. The music is super fun. I feel like it's the perfect summer movie because you're like, oh my gosh, it's so hot outside, and then you'll go home into your hopefully air-conditioned home, and then you're like, yes, the people in this movie get me because it was so hot outside. Mamma Mia is such a fun, easygoing summer movie because it's just so, it just like gives summer, and also like the soundtrack itself is so good because ABBA. Last one on this list is West Side Story. I don't think like West Side Story is like particularly summery, but it does give off that vibe, so I'm just gonna add it here. Moving on, all of the stories included romance as an aspect, and I feel like summer love, summer fling, summer romance is like a big thing, so let's watch some romances. Starting off strong, we have La La Land. La La Land kind of works in both this category and the last one, so it's a great segue movie. It is one of my favorite movies ever. It's also not particularly summery because it goes through all 4 seasons. However, because it's set in LA and like winter in LA is literally sunny, it just feels like summer the entire time. You can watch it any time of the year, but maybe this is a sign to rewatch La La Land, and if you haven't watched La La Land, literally what are you doing with your life? The iconic summer romance film that everyone thinks about is obviously Call Me By Your Name, so I couldn't not include it in this list. Definitely we're veering away from like fun, no thoughts, great vibes movies and into like more kind of like feels-y, I don't want to say intellectual, but like movies that will make you think a little bit more, and Call Me By Your Name is on its way there, but also remaining like fun and very vibesy. My last one in this category is called Before Sunrise. I actually don't know when it's set, but because the concept of it surrounds sunrise, I want to say that it is a great summer rec. It's basically a movie about these two people who meet on the train and they decide to spend a day together before the sun rises, and then after the next day they have to like go their own ways because they are each on their own individual journeys. It's a great like slice of life romance kind of like fun but heartbreaking movie because you know where this is gonna go, but it still hurts. My last category is for the cinephiles. If you love watching movies and you want to watch like a little more like niche indie movies, I got you. We'll start with Chungking Express. The reason why I say this is a great summer movie is because there's a reference in the film to May 1st as like a particularly important date in the movie. I don't think it's necessary to know what the story is about before you watch it, but just know it's about two romances that aren't really connected to one another. Then we have A Brighter Summer Day. This movie is a lot. Contrary to popular belief, this is not about a brighter summer day. I think it is like about like the idea of having a brighter summer day because it's actually about... Okay, I'm not gonna say anything about this movie because I feel like anything I say spoils it, but it has a very high Letterboxd rating and it is treasured by many film critics and viewers for a good reason. I will say though, it is very long. It's a 4-hour movie and it's very dense. So it's not like a 4-hour like lighthearted fun movie. It's like slow because it really captures the essence of these teenagers and you just like follow like their day-to-day as they go about their lives in Taiwan during I think the 1950s, 1960s, and it is obviously set during the summer. Would highly recommend. It is definitely like a full day event because it's so long, but definitely worth it. Then we have Still Walking. This is a Japanese film about this family that comes together to mourn the anniversary of one of the family members, either like their son or their brother who passed away. And it does a great job of capturing like different family dynamics and like the tension and like the reality of like what a family looks like. It is also again like very slice of life-y. It feels very warm. It made me think a lot about like a lot of different things. My last one is actually a movie that I haven't watched yet, but I feel like it is fitting for the summer. It's called After Sun. Can't believe I still haven't watched this, but I've heard so many good things about it. Generally speaking, when I consume books or movies, I don't really read the synopsis beforehand, so I don't really know what it's about. I just know like the general vibes and that it's really good, and I think it's something that I'll like. So I'm excited to watch that. Thank you for joining me on this little journey. I hope you got some ideas of what you want to do this summer and exactly what you should be reading, watching, and doing. And I hope you have a lovely summer. I'm sending you good vibes. Bye!